Hey guys, welcome back for another reading lesson for this week. As you guys know by now, we were supposed to be back in person last week, but we weren't able to do that. My classroom is still set up to have kids here in the building. So since we're going to stay virtual for a little while, I'm going to continue to make these video lessons. I hope that they're helpful for you as you do your work throughout the week. So for this week, this is going to be our learning goal for reading class. I am learning to identify the author's point of view in the text and compare it to my own. So if we're thinking about the author's point of view, that basically just means how the author feels about the topic they're talking about in the text, what their opinion is. Okay, so all this week as you're reading through different texts, I want you to think, well, how does the author feel about what they're writing about? And how do I feel? Do I agree? We're going to be comparing our viewpoint to the author's viewpoint. Do I agree with the author, or is my viewpoint different than the author's? Okay, so we're going to go through and look at a couple of texts at the beginning of this lesson, and we're going to see if we can figure out how the author feels about the topic that they're writing about. Let me see, it's starting to load. So the author's viewpoint is the opinion about the topic, or how the author feels about a topic. So what we're going to do, and we're not going to use a whiteboard, we're going to use thumbs up, thumbs down. What we're going to do is we're going to read some different texts, and we're going to see if we can figure out how the author feels about the topic. Do they have a positive viewpoint or positive opinion about the topic, or do they have a negative opinion about the topic? And then I'm going to ask you to think, well, what's your opinion? Do you agree with the author, or do you disagree? Okay, this first text, the author is writing about gym class. I wonder who made gym class mandatory. That means that you have to take it. You have to have gym class. He was a great guy. It is a welcome break from sitting in chairs. In a recent poll, gym class was the favorite subject of elementary students. I wish there was gym class more often. Okay, so think about what the author wrote about gym class. Does the author have a positive viewpoint towards gym class? They think it's good, or a negative viewpoint towards gym class? They think it's bad. Use thumbs up, thumbs down to decide what you think. Okay, if I'm having to figure out what the author's viewpoint is, the thing I'm going to look for first is opinion words. Anytime the author uses words like best or worst or good or bad, those are really good clues to help us figure out the author's viewpoint. The part in the text where at the very end the author says, I wish there was gym class more often, that's an opinion sentence, isn't it? The author's saying, I wish we had more gym class. So that's a really big clue to us that the author has a positive viewpoint towards gym class. The author likes gym class. Now I want you to think about your viewpoint. Do you agree with this author, or do you disagree? Do you like gym class, or do you not like gym class? Either way, it's okay. Think about your viewpoint. Do you have a positive or negative? For me, I have a positive viewpoint. I love gym class. I think gym class is important for students. It gives them a chance to exercise their bodies, and that is such an important thing. That's my viewpoint. Now, you may not agree with me, and that's okay. Everybody has their own viewpoints about different things. All right, we're going to look at a different author's viewpoint, and whenever I transitioned this over to Google Slide, it looks like some of my text got a little bit covered up. So we'll see if we can figure out what this author's saying there at the bottom. Gym class is such a waste of time. What is gym class good for anyway? Students are better off learning to read and do math. Some students have expressed what a pain it is to remember to wear gym shoes on gym day. I remember that's what it says at the bottom. Okay, so think about what this author is saying about gym class. Look for any examples of opinion words. Good, bad, best, worst. I'm looking at that very first sentence. It says, gym class is such a waste of time. That should be a big clue as to what this author's viewpoint is. So does this author have a positive viewpoint towards gym class or a negative viewpoint towards gym class? Show me what you think with your thumbs. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm looking at several clues. That first sentence that the author said it's a waste of time. And another opinion sentence, the author says that students are better off learning to read and do math. So they don't believe that gym classes is important. So this would have a negative viewpoint. I'm recording a lesson, Miss Ashcraft. I'll be done in a minute. Miss Ashcraft peeked in to say hello. All right, and now think about your viewpoint. Do you agree with this author or do you disagree? Do you think that this author, that they have a negative viewpoint? Do you have that same, or is yours different? Do you have a positive viewpoint towards gym class? It's okay to agree or disagree with the author. All right, let's look at this one. This author's writing to us about bees. So let's see if we can figure out the author's viewpoint. Many people don't like bees. However, without these helpful insects, we would not have many of our favorite flowers or fruits. When bees drink nectar from flowers, they carry away pollen. Bees leave the pollen on the next plant they visit. Okay, so how does this author feel about bees? I'm looking for some opinion words in here, right here. And the second sentence, the author says, without these helpful insects, so right there where they say that they're a helpful insect, and then the author describes how bees are helpful for us. What do you guys think the author's viewpoint is towards bees? Positive or negative? Show me thumbs up, thumbs down. All right, if you had a thumbs up, you're correct. This author has a positive viewpoint towards bees. The author says that they're helpful. So that tells us that this author likes bees. Now think about your viewpoint. Do you agree with this author? Do you think bees are helpful and good, or do you disagree? Do you not like bees? Either way, it's okay to have the same viewpoint or different. But our learning goal, remember, said that we were not only going to identify the author's viewpoint, but we're also going to compare it to our own. So we're going to see if our viewpoint matches or if it's different from the author. Okay. This one says, many people don't like bees. They are afraid of being stung. Lots of people are even allergic to bee stings. Then they get a rash or take medicine if they get stung. Bees are always bothersome. How does this author feel about bees? Positive or negative? We had some more clues in there, didn't we? That last sentence, bees are always bothersome. That's an opinion sentence, isn't it? So that gives us a really big clue as to how this author feels. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Show me, what do you think? Positive viewpoint or negative viewpoint? I think this one's pretty obvious. It's a negative viewpoint, right? This author does not like bees. They sting people. They're bothersome. If you get stung, then you have to, some people are allergic. You have a rash or you have to take medicine. So this author's giving a lot of negative facts about bees. So, but now think about your viewpoint. Do you agree with this bee or do you disagree with this author? Do you think bees are helpful or do you think that they're bothersome? Okay, and either way, it's okay. We all have our own schema, our own background knowledge and experiences that help to develop our viewpoints about different things. So if you've been stung by a bee before, guess what? You might agree with the second author because you think they're bothersome. Or if you're allergic, you probably really agree with the second author. If bees don't really bother you that bad and you haven't had any bad experiences with bees, you might agree with the first author. So our viewpoints, guys, are shaped by our experiences, the things that happen to us in our life, okay? All right, we're going to go through our activities that you're going to be working on this week. We're going to go through our assignment agenda and look and see what it is that you're going to be working on in your iReady books, okay? All right, it's starting to load. You're going to be in lesson 11 in your iReady books this week that starts on page 174 called Author's Point of View. Here it comes. It's being a little slow. Still loading. This is why we have to be patient sometimes. There we go. So you're going to be starting on 174. Your assignment for Monday is to work on 174 and 175, and then if you have internet, you're watching this video right now. So 174 and 175 is telling you about what point of view is. You're going to be looking at this cartoon and you're trying to figure out the girl's point of view of this painting that she's looking at. And then you're going to fill in this chart over here by giving details in the text that help you to figure out her point of view, okay? On Tuesday, you're going to be doing 176, 177, and 180. 176, the text is called Make Way for the Mallard Family. You're going to be reading about this famous statue that's in Boston's Public Garden. And your goal is going to be to figure out what is the author's viewpoint. His name is, or her name is Jessie Green. How does the author feel about this statue? Okay, so as you're reading, I would recommend highlighting or underlining any words that can give you hints about how the author feels about the sculpture. If the author describes it positively or negatively, that's going to really help you out as you're filling in your chart over on 177. Over on 180, you have a short response. It says, is your point of view different or the same as the author's? Tell how it is different or the same. So do you agree with the author, how the author feels, or do you have a different viewpoint? Okay. All right. On Wednesday, your assignment is going to be 178, 179, and 181. And guys, there are videos, optional videos that you can watch that I have linked that go right along with author's point of view. So if you're struggling this week, check them out. They're all pretty short and they're really, really helpful. Okay, so 178, you're going to be reading this text called Snow Sculpture Contest. As you're reading, you're going to see if you can figure out the author's point of view about snow sculptures. So I recommend as you're reading through the text, if you see any clues that the author gives you about how they feel about snow sculptures, highlight them or underline them. That's going to really help you as you answer your questions over here. And just a side note, if you've never seen snow sculptures before, they are amazing. I recommend just Googling some pictures. You'd be amazed at some of the different things that people can make out of snow. You also have a short response. It says in the second paragraph, the author says, snow sculpture is a very difficult kind of sculpture to make. Explain whether or not you agree. So again, you're comparing your point of view to the author's. So how do you agree? Do you disagree? Are they difficult to make or not? What's your point of view? For Thursday, you have pages 182 to 185 to work on. You have a text called Our Most Famous Immigrant. So guys, an immigrant is someone who moves to a different country. And so we have lots of people who used to live in different countries and have moved to America. They're considered immigrants. And this text is actually talking about who the author thinks is our most famous immigrant, the Statue of Liberty. So you're going to be reading all about the Statue of Liberty, and you're going to be trying to see if you can figure out the author's viewpoint about the Statue of Liberty. How does the author feel? Again, as you're reading it, highlight or underline any clues that will help you figure out the author's point of view. You have some questions to answer. Guess what? The very first question is asking you about how the author feels about the Statue of Liberty. So you're going to read these 4 choices and you have to choose 2 sentences from the text that support that answer. So you're going to rewrite those sentences there for part B. And then you're going to answer questions 2 and 3 on page 185. Okay. All right, for Friday's assignment, you have 2 iReady pages, 186 and 187. These go along with that text, Our Most Famous Immigrant. You have 2 questions to answer here. This one's on author's point of view again. And then over here on page 187, you have another short response. The author describes the Statue of Liberty as America's most famous immigrant. Do you agree with her point of view? So you're going to compare your point of view to the author's. Do you agree or do you disagree? Okay. Also on for Friday, if you have access to Google Classroom, there is a quiz on author's point of view that you will need to take. Okay. It's under classwork, week 18 materials. You will see it right there. It says author's point of view quiz. Okay. All right, that's all I have for you today. I hope that you guys have an amazing week. If you need anything, feel free to send me a message through Dojo. Parents or kids, you can message me through Google Classroom. I hope to see you guys in person soon.